Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Michael L. Cook. We'll be discussing his fantastic book, An Army Firefighter in Vietnam, 1970 to 1971. Available for purchase through Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, or Fire Service Publications. Guys, and I will say that Michael was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by some of the best movers in the business. Limelight Press and Media Publishing. So if you have a book that you'd like moved, make sure you're doing yourself a favor and you're contacting our great friends over at Limelight. And you can find out more information on them at limelightpressandmedia.com. And guys, listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Michael here on the line. Now, the moment you go to his Amazon page, his Barnes & Noble page, and you start to do any research on his book whatsoever, you instantly understand what we're going to be discussing today. Now, right there in the title, there's no getting around it. I mean, it hits it on the nose, and you know the journey that we're going to be embarking upon. We're going to be talking about an Army firefighter in Vietnam, right? But in addition to that, guys, first and foremost, make sure that you understand this is an untold story. So not only is it going to be educational, it's a first-hand account of non-combat roles in the military, and specifically within war. Now, I'm not going to go into much detail. I'm not going to steal Michael's thunder. He's the expert. He's lived it. He's pulling from his experience, and he's going to be able to articulate everything much better than I ever could anyway. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Michael, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you so much for being a guest. How are you?
I'm good this morning, Benji. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Michael, listen, the pleasure is all ours, and we're very much looking forward to, learning about your background, learning about your experiences, but also how we're going to be able to take that information and implement it into our lives and have a better understanding of our own military. Now, I know we have so much information to cover, Michael, so without further ado, let's go. An Army firefighter in Vietnam, 1970 to 1971. Tell us a little bit more about your book.
The book, like I said, is an untold story. Military history is full of a lot of interesting subjects, and some are just still unknown. It takes approximately 7 people to support one soldier in the field, one fighting man. And as the base grows larger, there's more and more positions to support the fighting soldier. And my story about the combat firefighter in Vietnam is truly untold and even unknown.
I really want to focus on this 7-to-1 ratio that you brought up, because you mentioned in the pre-screening call as well. And again, from an outsider looking in, that is a new statistic that I had never heard before, and I'm sure so many people haven't either. So as you said, it takes 7 non-combat officials to take care of one soldier. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more and why those are the numbers?
The support of the soldier takes many people. Obviously, you got to have medical people there. People get sick, people get injured. Okay, you have to have people to supply uniforms and people supply weapons. People take care of the munitions and ammunitions, people that take care of housing, people take care of roads. Somebody's got to cook for somebody. The firefighters got to protect things when things go wrong, and not just from other acts of war, like you came under a rocket attack or something, but soldiers are people too. Carelessness and accidents happen. So yeah, I was part of that family.
So there's 7-to-1 is the ratio. Is that something that is being satisfied in today's military?
Oh, I think the number may be even higher because our military has become very high tech. I just think of the people who got to do the computer assisted weaponry we have. So I'm sure, the number 7 was a number back in my time, and I'm talking 50 years ago. I'm sure it's multiplied greatly today.
Michael, let's go into inspiration. Now, multi-part question here, but first and foremost, let's start with this particular narrative. What inspired you to put the words to the page? I mean, of course, these are your experiences, and you very easily could have verbally told those around you, but you wanted to take it a step further, put the words on the page, and put it out for the public to be able to partake in. What did you see, or what did you learn that made you feel your words would be beneficial to the public at large and anybody that wanted to participate?
Approximately 2 years when I came home from the war, I was published my very first article, and it was about my time in Vietnam. Actually, it was very short. It was about the firefighting tank that we used against ammunition fires there. One photograph, a short one-page article in a fire magazine. Okay, and from there, I just became a writer for the fire service. I've been published many times every year since then. And always in the back of my mind, I thought somebody would write and tell the story of the military firefighter in war. And wow, nothing exists. All of the fellows that I've served with, everybody has passed on. I'm last man standing of the 21-man detachment. And I felt, you know what, I need to put this down in writing. I've had many friends that knew of my experience in war, that I am a Vietnam vet, and they said, Chief, you just need to do it. And so I got on board and did it.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And we're so glad that you did. Sticking with the concept of inspiration. Now, we know, again, as you stated, when you first got back from the war, you wrote a very small piece, and from there, you continued to write. Now, let's go further back in your life. In terms of creative writing, was this something you always had an interest in? Were there artists that inspired you? Talk to us a little bit more about where that love for writing comes from.
Oh, love for writing. Well, I've been a musician all my life. I started playing keyboards at age 5, and then got formal training in 2nd grade. And then it seems like my skill for doing music and writing notes and things like that on a staff chart piece of paper, and then my writing skills in school. I'd helped out with the school newspapers and periodicals and do things for, like, the church choir and all that. And so it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And yeah, so this is, I've evolved, I guess, into a writer without any real formal training.
There you have it. There you have it. Sometimes ain't nothing to it but to do it, Michael. You get that hands-on experience, and that's really all you need. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. Michael, listen, I know your book is filled with your experiences and stories that took place during your time there in the Vietnam War. But since we have you here on the line, I'd love to take an opportunity, because, guys, listen, you know what you have to do, okay? There's no getting around it. If you want to gather all of the information, if you want to hear all of the stories, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Fire Service publications are the places you have to go. There's no getting around it, okay? You got to pick up your own copy. But, Michael, since we have you here on the line, I'd love to take this opportunity. Is there a particular story or any experience that you can relay to our listening audience and maybe give them a little bit more of a teaser of what to expect when they pick up your book?
Okay, in the book, I recount a number of really crazy events that really no training in the world could have prepared us for. First of all, you're in a hostile environment, and you know what? Your base might be under attack. You're receiving rockets in different areas and all that. We were not that type of soldier to go and hide. We had battle dress and we had firefighting uniforms. We had both. We carried weapons. So in other words, basically our job was to fight fire, but if we had to fight the enemy, we would do that also. And so I've told a number of events in here, kind of matter of fact, that we dealt with some serious issues that probably the bulk of firefighters across the world would never encounter in their careers.
That is incredible. Michael, curiosity for myself, something that just came up. Why do you feel that we don't hear more about Army firefighters?
First of all, it's a limited skill that the Army has. I think the United States Army today probably only has maybe 180 true active duty firefighters at various installations. There are quite a few in the National Guard, but the bulk of firefighting is very limited. And these people, when we do our troops deploy around the world, there's a small cadre that go with them. Our cadre was very different. The firefighting military occupational specialty, as they call it, MOS, today is not the same as it was with us. If aircraft fell out, or I should say, got shot down 20, 30 miles away from our installation, we battle suited up. The MPs would give us a gun jeep ahead of us, and my crew, which would be a fire engine pumper and a water truck, would follow, and we would go to the crash site and do what we could, save lives, save soldiers' lives. Most of the time it was medevacs that were shot down. Sometimes we could do something, sometimes we couldn't, but we went there. Today, the military firefighter basically stays on their installation. I mean, I don't know if we were plumb crazy back then, but that's what we did. We wanted to save lives, especially of our own brothers in battle.
Of course. Absolutely. Michael, what would you say was a highlight for you in writing this book? Or if not a highlight, maybe something that surprised you throughout this journey that you weren't expecting prior to embarking upon it?
It was a challenge writing the book. I will say that, but I feel very proud that I'm honoring those who served with me. And, even though they're not here right now to share in the positive aspects of the book, in our mortal world, hopefully if their families get copies of this book and know that it's about them and see the pictures of their young sons, in Vietnam, there with me in front of the fire engines, in front of the firehouse, it would be, to me, it's a great honor. And I got to say, just about everybody that has purchased my book this far has said, "Oh my God, the first thing we had to do, Chief, is go to the back of the book and look at the photographs. We've never seen pictures of military fire trucks or firefighters in war." And he says, the pictures alone are worth the price of the book.
Michael, I think that's where so much of the value and so much of the power of your book lies. We know that this is a firsthand account. And because these are untold stories, because these are unseen photographs and footage, there's something about it that just raises the stakes. Guys, we know about the Vietnam War. Of course, we've all learned about it. How many of us have a firsthand experience, right? How many of us know someone that has a firsthand experience? As Michael said, 35%, I think, of the survivors left over from the Vietnam War. I think you said something along those lines. Guys, this is the opportunity that we've all been waiting for. This is such a fantastic narrative with so much to gain, so much education to be gained. As we start to tie up this fantastic interview, Michael, I can only think of asking as a follow-up, what's next for you, man? What's on the horizon? Do you have anything else that you're working on, any other projects that we should be on the lookout for?
One thing I guess I have to say about my book is I looked upon it, and as I wrote it, I have done a lot of research and other writings about the history of where did firefighters come from. And we all came from the Roman army. The Roman army invented the position of firefighter to deal with fires, not just while the army was on march and things like that, but to handle fires of Rome. Okay, so I have found out that there's quite a unique link, even though we're many centuries apart, that we are doing jobs that the Roman soldier firefighters did when they protected their own army many centuries ago. So it's just interesting how the career has sustained itself, and how the Romans pioneered a lot of things that we did ourselves. So, the book is kind of maybe a tribute back to the history and the profession of the firefighter, going back to Roman times.
Being an artist myself, I love having this platform to be able to pay it forward, in a sense, to other artists out there listening in. Now, you are someone that has written and published this book. As you stated, you've written a number of other articles. So writing has been something, or has become something, that you have fully engulfed yourself in. right? I mean, you've just taken that leap of faith, and we love it. And now it gives us the opportunity to steal any words of wisdom from you. Michael, for any new writers out there listening in, what are some words of wisdom that you can relate to them?
Okay, being a writer and being published now, in a serious manner, I have a real book, rather than just a simple article in a magazine somewhere. I think it's a testament that it does take a fair amount of courage to go ahead, stand up, and get your publication out there, and tell it with your heart and soul. I think that's where it's really important. I mean, speak and tell the way you want the world to know what your work is going to present, and I feel proud of what you do. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And the other thing is too, as you take many steps in getting your work together, if you feel defeated at a point, okay, learn from that point of defeat and improve upon it, and you'll be well. You'll do good.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Guys, there's so much value in what he just said. I'm going to start off with the end, and then I'm going to go back to the beginning. The last thing that he said, it brings up a great point for me. Guys, and this is something that I adhere to as an artist, from an artist perspective, but also from an entrepreneur perspective. Guys, there's no such thing as wins and losses. Everything is about perspective, right? Everything is about wins and lessons. And I truly believe that. And again, it's something that I've needed to believe, from an artist's perspective, but also from an entrepreneur perspective. Because again, your perception is everything. When you face a loss, quote unquote, or you don't get the end result, you don't get the desired result, a lot of times we can look at that as a negative thing. And it absolutely is. I mean, it doesn't feel good, right? If you don't get the desired result. But again, when you shift your perception and you look at that not as a loss, but as a lesson learned, you can implement that into the next task and you become a better person. You grow, you develop because of that. I think that is so important, and it's a great piece of advice to continue to think about. And then the very first thing that he said is it takes courage. And guys, again, whether you're a writer, whether you're an actor, whether you're a musician, an artist in general, isn't that just our lives? We're putting out our art, because that's really what it is, right? I mean, we're putting out our particular art. This is our art form. And when we put our creations out there, it takes a lot of courage, because now when you put it out there, you're leaving yourself open and susceptible to the criticism that comes along with it. And every artist understands what that feels like. But it takes courage. And the moment you take that leap of faith, I promise you, you'll be in a much better position. And especially if you view it from the perspective of wins and lessons, even when you put it out there, regardless of the feedback that you receive, it's not a loss. It's all about the lesson and what can be learned and gained. Here on the line with Michael L. Cook, we just finished discussing his wonderful book, An Army Firefighter in Vietnam, 1970 to 1971, available for purchase through Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, or Fire Service Publications. Michael, this has been such an honor. Thank you once again for being a guest with us today on People of Distinction.
Thank you, Benji. It's been wonderful.